Paul, when COVID hit, we were analyzing stocks in 2020, and a lot of the viewers asked, which ones do you love? It fell a bunch. We didn't go on a bonanza of buying, but right off the bat, you loved Southwest, and you saw something in CCL, Carnival Cruise, that attracted you. So per your teachings, I in turn fell in love with this, made a bunch of money on this run up. My son Gio bought a CCL. We always talk about this because it still hasn't really recovered. I'd love to get your thoughts on Carnival Cruise, the company, the ticker price, the future, and how the fundamentals look, because it looks ugly behind you there, Paul.
So speaking of cruise lines, please follow me on Instagram.
That's not a good tie-in at all.
That's the point. It's like Howard Stern when he goes like,
speaking of,
so my grandmother died. Oh, by the way, it's 11:24, 74 degrees.
Speaking of cruise lines.
So speaking of cruise lines, please follow us on Instagram, where we're trying to get our blue check mark. For those of you who are hating, say give us the damn blue check mark. Please get somebody at IG to give it to me. So Carnival Cruise was a company. So first off, those of you who understand the 8 pillars, who've been with us before,
yes,
this is bad.
So we use these 8 key metrics to see if we want to invest in a company. They're very
yes and no. We use it to say, should we go further and do more research? The more green check marks, obviously, the more attractive it is. But it doesn't mean all the time that we're going to buy, even though it has all check marks. Just like here,
this is ugly.
I own CCL and have puts on it, which means I'm trying to buy more shares, and it's all 8 check marks, all 8 X's. Why is this, Seth? They have had the worst possible thing to happen to a cruise. Literally, I think it would have been better for them if a cruise ship had just run aground, exploded, and everybody on board had died. It would probably have been better for their business than what happened in the last year. Right? You can at least explain that to a one-off, saying, it was a rogue captain. Sorry about that. Our bags, we got you. I just don't, this is like literally a pandemic shutdown.
Yes.
So since then, when I first looked at, I'm not going to get the numbers right now, but when I first looked at Carnival Cruise Line, I thought it was worth about $50 or $60 a share when stabilized.
Yeah.
But then they went and issued a couple rounds of shares, and I have it now in the low to mid 40s. So at $21, it's still attractive for me to buy it. I can still double my money because I think it'll be stable in the next 2 to 4 years, right? And that's your goal here. Even though the X's are all here, you still want to figure out a way that what's this? These X's are here because of a one-time fluke of the business, right? It's a one-time fluke incident that they couldn't control. They had the biggest cruise line at the time, the least amount of debt relative to their revenue versus all the other cruise lines. I just believed in that. Now, if we have another shutdown because of the Delta variant and they issue a lot more shares, that's going to keep driving the price down because they're diluting owners, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still okay at $21 a share. I still think I have plenty of upside potential considering my basis in the company is like $14 or $15 a share on average. I started buying some at 12 or 13, got some in the high teens. I'm averaging $14, $15 a share, right? Okay. Carnival Cruise Line is still scary because you're waiting for the world to come back, right? And whenever you're this reliant on the government or anything like that, going crazy, that is a risk to incur. And that's why the stock price is down so much. What was the stock price before COVID hit?
I was just going to say, can we look at the fundamentals of this company when it was rock and rolling? Look at that.
I mean, look at this. It had a high of $72 a share back in 2018. Let's look at the income statement. I mean, look at how much revenue is down. It had a peak of $19.8 billion, and now it's doing $139 million in the last 12 months. Net income.
Paul, have you done $140 million in the last? No,
I did it in the last 14 minutes.
That's not that much, though. I mean, for you.
$3 billion in profit, down to a loss of 9.13, and very consistent profit numbers. Look at these very consistent profit numbers, Seth. Right? Very consistently growing. #1 cruise line in the world. They were buying shares back until the world shut down. Let's look at their cash flow statement. Their cash flow before the world shut down.
Wow, look at that. 3, 3.5, 4.5.
I mean, actually, there was a big jump here. There must have been some reason why there was a big jump here. But they were doing pretty consistently $2 billion, over $2 billion a year in free cash flow. So I look at these things and think to myself, like, okay, if you were to buy it today based on that, you're at 12 times free cash flow for the #1 cruise line in the world that's still growing. That's a very reasonable number, right? That's a very reasonable number. That's after issuing how many more shares? I just think that this company is being skewed by the recent data. And am I still a buyer? I'm not probably adding more shares if there's delta, but I'm still okay at buying at lower prices, which is why I'm selling puts. I'm selling puts, which are at a lower price, for example, $17, where if the price hits $17 by a certain date, the person who bought the put can force me to buy the shares from them for $17. I'm okay with that. I'm buying at a lower price. Gives me more upside potential, right? Lowers my risk. That is the way I feel about Carnival Cruise Line. I don't think Carnival Cruise Line is going under. I think all the other cruise lines will go under before they do over the next 5-7 years. But I think that when you're going to make the best deals when times are most grim, when everybody doesn't believe that, when everybody, remember how, it got to like how low did it get, Seth? It got pretty low.
Yeah, look at that.
Right here. What is this price right here? $8 a share, $8.50 back in April. That's when the world was like, we're not opening back up. That was literally April 3rd. The world was like, they had just shut down. There was no timetable of when we're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're basically back, right? I mean, there's still gonna be issues that we have, but they're basically back. And slowly but surely, the revenue will start to increase. And hopefully in that time, they can withstand the free cash flow losses and the cash flow loss along the way and make something good of this company and buy back some more shares.
Mo is not here with us today. He's on vacation. He's actually at a Bitcoin conference in Boca Raton, Paul. You know that. He's really doing his due diligence on Bitcoin. But if you're interested in trading CCL in terms of a faster pace, you can join our Patreon below. Join that Bid and Ask Nation, Paul. We have 5,300 patrons, 700 or 800 of which are in the Bid and Ask, and they're talking. Our Discord is firing off like how many messages a minute? I mean, like hundreds are firing off, and it's incredible. These people are talking.
But it's a very organized method.
Yes.
There's 50 or 60. We just started a book club, which has become a very popular thing. But we have a great Discord community of people who want to talk about investing. We've got a mobile app, which most of these guys don't even have mobile apps.
This is for our software. If you want the data behind Paul, you can get it right now. Paul, keep telling what they get. Go ahead.
So we created the software because everybody who watched our videos early on was like, hey, where can I get that software? And I was using Y charts. So we decided to make our own software. You get the mobile app, 8 pillars, 30 years of financial data, stock analyzer tool, daily exclusive content that's not going to be put on YouTube, access to all of us, real estate calculators, stock screeners, the Discord community. And look at that. You get it for 84 cents a day. A measly, less than a crappy cup of coffee.
Crappy
cup of coffee. Less than a crappy cup of coffee. You can change your entire, literally, viewpoint and view of the world. This will pay itself how many times over? You're crazy not to do it.
Paul, I was ashamed that I was investing for many years without ever looking at any of this stuff. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, you didn't know any different.
No, that's true. I thought I did. I actually... In my circle of friends, I actually thought.
You know how many messages? I mean, you guys see how many messages I get every day on Instagram. Paul, I've had people say you're doing the Lord's work. I'm like, well, I don't know about that.
Which Lord?
Yeah, but I'm sitting there saying like people really appreciate it. And then other people are like, you're an a-hole.
A mutual friend of ours, Paul, just 3 months ago had his money in a very high yield bank dividend fund, getting 1.5% back a year.
That actually is pretty high.
And now he's trading.
In the bid and ask
options. He's in the bid and ask. He's reading books.
Well, it's more useful than being a doctor. I'll tell you that right now.
That's true. So, all right, final take on CCL, Paul. Moving forward.
The issuing of shares is concerning. I'm still happy at this price. I'm selling puts. If you're not selling puts on it because it requires 100 shares at a time, just be patient. Pick a plan for how you're going to buy it. Pick a price that you're willing to buy at. And buy every month as long as it's below that price and build a nice position and be done with it.
That's our take on Carnival Cruise. Thanks for watching. Join the Patreon. Fondle, thumbs up. We'll see you in the next video.